weren't aware of the fact that we would someday become different people when shit hits the fan. Here are the two biggest mistakes we made on our journey in setting up our own community. So, number one is we were not as conscious and mindful and critical, not critical enough towards the people that we started with, the initiators, the business partners. We called ourselves fire starters. We weren't aware of the fact that we would someday become different people when shit hits the fan. So, what I learned is simply that we people, humans, we're not wired to thrive. We're basically wired to survive. So when shit hits the fan, when the going gets tough, we do one of two things. We move away from discomfort, we move away from pain, and we move towards comfort, and we look for ease, and we look for the easy way out. And sometimes the easy way out is an old coping mechanism. So that could be blaming others. That could be hiding yourself in talks, or literally hiding yourself and making yourself unavailable and making yourself busy instead of fixing the problem and going to work. So the question I always ask nowadays is, who am I and who are we together or with this group when the going gets tough, when we have actual problems? Are we going to be emotionally mature enough to sit down, not be triggered, to peel off the onion, to understand the problem, and to look the beast in the eye and say, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it together, rather than a massive trigger party and being dragged into the drama triangle, and then everything gets progressively worse from there. So that really happened to us. Fortunately, that is like years behind us already. But when I think about this is my personal biggest lesson. Don't make this mistake. Be mindful of the fact that people are different when everything is all right. People share your dream. People share your goals. People love you. People cuddle. People hug you. But when shit hits the fan and the going gets tough, people change. The biggest indicator for successful collaboration that I can think of right now is whether people have really gone through a lot. Like whether they've set up projects before, whether they have set up companies before, whether they have survived certain storms and certain adversities. If they have, they probably are resilient, and they will stay on board, they will stay at the table, they will continue to talk, and they will be able to solve the matter. Most people who haven't done anything in their life, and they only speak about their dreams and what they're gonna do, but not what they have already done, need to go through a cycle of maturation first. So be mindful of that. The second mistake that we made is loading ourselves up with too much debt. We were so excited. We were actually on cloud 9, and we were having financiers lined up, and then right before the financing round, one of the bigger financiers, they pulled out, and then we had to come up with a different solution, which was more expensive. I think we paid about 8.75% in interest on about a little over €1 million in a loan. We were up to our neck in debt, and it caused two problems. It caused us to work. It forced us to work for the financiers. We were paying too much, and we didn't have enough breathing space to actually fulfill on our and execute on our plans. And second, the financiers became the boss of us. And when we had to pivot, we didn't have all the control that we needed in order to pivot. So we were very restricted in our possibilities. So it became commercial, and it wasn't until we paid off 2.3 million in debt to the professional financiers, so the guys with the suits, the banks, the investment platforms. It wasn't until that moment that we felt breathing space again, and that we could breathe, and that we could be creative, and that we got out of survival mode in order to actually fulfill on our desires. So if your desire is to be in a rat race, but just a bigger, more stressful rat race where financiers could pull the rug anytime you like, then this is the way to go. If your goal is to become more free, to live in community, and to ultimately experience freedom and escape a lot of legacy systems that no longer serve you, if freedom is your goal, then don't go too much into debt. Think about that. All right. Have a great day. Wish you a blessed day.